I began rabbinical school in the fall of '94. I did my first year of mechina out at what was then the University of Judaism and is now the American Jewish University. I was one of, there were 2 women out of 15 that year. I mean, all I can say, it felt like I was being hazed, to be perfectly honest. It was incredibly difficult, the culture shock that I experienced that year. In addition to that, in the spring of that year, I was sexually harassed by a professor there. Really had no recourse to bring that anywhere. This person was in the administration, and I really felt there was nowhere to bring this. And it was done out and open in front of the entire Talmud class. And I was really like, I couldn't believe this was happening to me, to be perfectly honest. I'd seen Take Back the Night things, and of course I had always said, well, if this happens, you immediately speak up, you immediately deal with this. But at the time I was silenced. I realized, and I really had to decide, am I staying in rabbinical school or am I not? Because I think if I'd come to the decision that I wasn't staying, then I wouldn't have been silent. I came to the conclusion that I was going to stay and I wanted this. Thankfully, and I want to give credit where credit's due, an older male student in the class came up to me one day and said, you don't have to take this. And it was so, now I'm sad that it took a male student to tell me that, to realize my power, but I needed it at the time. You don't realize when you yourself are being victimized how hard it is to speak out. So I wound up writing the perpetrator a note calling it sexual harassment. I said, this is sexual harassment, this needs to stop. That freaked him out, and of course he told me, of course it's not, and I'm just joking around with you, but he did pull it back. I finished that year. In my year, we were supposed to stay out at the UJ for 2 years, then go to Israel, then go to JTS. I wasn't staying. There was no way. Because I said, if I'm going to be a rabbi, I need to go to JTS and get there and experience a different environment before. And the truth was, still making the decision if I'm making the decision to see this through. So I packed up the end of that year and went to JTS. JTS was marginally better because then I was one of, I think we were 7 or 8 women out of 28, and we were about a third of the class. We were 7 out of 21. That's what we were. But it wasn't easy. They were still at that point in time, again, this is the mid-90s, professors made it clear that they did not feel that they were women who should be in their classes, who should be studying for the rabbinate. There was one Talmud class, myself and all of the women and a couple of the men joined in boycotting after the professor verbally harassed a woman in class, and we said, we're not going back. The administration of the seminary sat us down and said, Kavod Harav, you must go back. You can't insult this. Of course, older Jay, he's old, he's of that generation. We said, no, we do not need to go back. There's no place for being verbally harassed in the classroom. It's just not acceptable. And after several weeks of back and forth, they got us a graduate student who taught us Talmud that semester.